Let's get to the other side of North London. Tottenham Hotspur, they are struggling. Things are not going well for Tottenham Hotspur at all. They've had to let Antonio Conte go. Stellini is taking charge. Fabio Paratici is having issues. And they don't even know who will handle the team next season. So we've managed to catch our colleague, Rahman Osman. He's in the UK, works for London World. We had him on a few weeks ago to give us really an understanding of what is happening at Spurs, what the situation is, and what it means for them as the season winds down and as they plan their future, at least ahead of next season. Rahman, hi, welcome to the show once again, and many thanks for joining us.
Hi, thanks, Nathan. Thanks for having me.
Great, wonderful, wonderful. Rahman, so we've had a very interesting, last 10 days for Spurs after Antonio Conte's tirade. He's been let go. Stellini is now in charge. Fabio Paratici has a ban on his head. Spurs don't know who's handling the team next season. What is going on with Tottenham Hotspur? How come all of a sudden there seems to be chaos around the North London side?
Well, I've just come out of a press conference with Christian Stellini, and a question like that was asked to him about Tottenham being in chaos, and he says it's not chaos. It's just part of London football, and what they will do as the technical team and players is just to fix on the ball. And you mentioned all the big things. Antonio is no more. I'm sitting actually on Antonio's seat because this is Antonio is not here, and it's funny. And also Paratici's ban on Italian football has been made worldwide, and then Harry Kane has just got 1 year left on his contract.
Wow!
And there are rumors that he might just run it down and eventually leave, and that's a big deal if you support Spurs, because Harry's Spurs through and through, and if he runs down his contract and leaves, Spurs don't get nothing. He's Tottenham's highest goal scorer in history. He's England's highest goal scorer. Possibly could score 20 or 30 more goals and make it practically impossible for anybody in this generation to catch up with him. But Stellini has decided to stay. Antonio is gone with his brother Gianluca. And we asked, and to answer the last part of your question about what they're planning to do, Stellini tells us that he's been mandated to look after the next 10 games, starting from Everton on Monday. And if they can get the win, that keeps them in the hand for top four, eventually getting Champions League football. And when you get Champions League football, you get more money, and that could potentially change what will happen in the summer.
Great. You mentioned Fabio Paratici. I do know that he was part of the team that was trying to find a new manager. But now that there's this ban, have you heard anything from Spurs? What kind of inside info do you have as to what the next step is and what they will do as they try to look for a new manager ahead of the new season in a few months?
Yeah, it's a really difficult question, because then we were told we couldn't even speak about it because it's more of a legal issue.
Okay.
It's an issue that has to do with laws and court and stuff like that, and we're not really that qualified when it comes to. But yeah, in the second part of your question also, he was indeed part, because he was the director of the club. Levy essentially gave him Tottenham to run, and he's been employing people behind the scene. He's restructured the whole academy. He's restructured the whole second team. He's restructured how the scouting is done. He's brought in some really interesting signings. Last season, he brought in Dejan Kulusevski and Rodrigo Bentancur, and they were massive hits. They were the reason why top four was secured. And he was part of the reasons why Antonio decided to come after initially turning down the job. And so it's not easy for Spurs to literally get rid of him as most fans would want. And if you read most fans on social media, they're like, why are you sticking with this man? He's been banned in Italy since January. And even though he's appealed, the normal thing for you to do is suspend him till you get to the bottom of the... But the problem is, because he's assumed a massive role in Spurs, like I said, he's restructured the club. A lot of money has been invested in him. A lot of people work for him in the club. So if you suspend him or you sack him because of what's happening in FIFA, what it does means is that you need to bring in a new person, or Levy has to come back and run the club by himself. What Spurs have said they will do, though, is wait to get clarification from FIFA, and then they can advise themselves forward. But most will say they're standing by Paratici. but why this time by somebody a lot of people say he's a con man.
Wow.
But again, it's hard to essentially place because he's appealing it and he's got the right to appeal.
Great. Rahman, just finally, on Monday night, Spurs travel to Everton. What kind of Spurs should we expect to see? I ask this because ever since Antonio Conte has had his health issues, when Stellini handles the team, they look good. They look pleasing. The fans seem to enjoy what they see. So on Monday night, what kind of Spurs should we expect to see at Everton?
Honestly, you should have been in the presser, Nathan. So again, we asked him this question, and he did say that it won't be quite different from what you've seen because he's worked for 20 years or more with Antonio. They played together for a short period. They've managed together at Inter. They've gone places together. And even though a lot of fans want to see a different kind of play and different style of play, I think it won't be quite different. I think Perisic has recovered from his injury, so he should take the left side of wing back. Pedro Porro is fit, even though Emerson is injured, and so he would also take the right side also of the wing back, and then he'll play a 3-back system like Antonio does, and possibly go with Kane, Son, Højbjerg in the middle. It won't be a totally different side than what Antonio used to do. He would try as much as possible to be his own man. And we did ask him in the past when you had trouble and when Antonio was in Italy recovering from his gallbladder, what you did was that you communicated with him. Now Antonio is not there and you're the main man now. If you're in trouble, will you run back to him? He said, no, I'm going to do things myself. So in as much as Stellini will be his own man, you shouldn't expect a radical Tottenham side. They'll play with a little bit of handbrake, and if they can get the results going, they'll build on that.
All right, Rahman, thank you so much, and take care of yourself. And I hear you're going to catch a train, so hop on and catch that train.